This week, rates took another hit, and unfortunately, today has seen kind of the worst of it so far. It is actually Kevin Warsh's first day as Fed chair, and mortgage-backed securities are getting hit hard. Oil prices are largely to blame for that, and 10-year yields in the U.S. are at their highest since May of last year, and yields in the UK, Japan, and Germany are all at multi-year highs. And keep in mind, global economies are interconnected. Inflation fears are now spreading globally, and the Iran situation is still the ceiling on any real improvement that we'd see. Walking through some of the news from this week, Iran rejected Trump's one-page peace proposal early in the week. Their deal breakers were reparations that they were asking for, keeping control of the Strait of Hormuz, and continuing nuclear enrichment talks. The ceasefire was described as being on life support midweek by Trump, and the U.S. was reportedly considering restarting combat operations. Obviously not a good sign. And there was a meeting involving President Xi from China, and that took place, which kind of gave markets a brief moment of hope, but nothing concrete came from it. As of today, there's no reported progress. The strait is effectively still closed. And on inflation, CPI, that's the inflation that consumers feel, April anyways, came in as expected, but that was a high number. And energy prices were up, especially gas, and those two categories alone accounted for more than half of the headline increase we saw there. Core CPI, that actually strips out food and energy, came in a little above estimates as well. And the one silver lining that I would say in the report was that the shelter jump appears to be partly a one-time catch-up, and that's because we had missing numbers from when the government was shut down. So it should pull back in the next reading. Then PPI, that's wholesale inflation for April, was the one that really stung. It came in roughly triple what was expected. Oil and gas prices, again, the main driver. But when you see a number that far above estimates, it obviously gets attention. And it actually, surprisingly, didn't hurt mortgage bonds as much as I'd expect, which might just mean that the market's looking past the inflation readings and focusing more on what's happening in Iran. And the International Energy Agency did put out a report saying they believe the Strait of Hormuz will start to see gradual oil flow in June, as well as increased activity by August, but they didn't really give a whole lot of detail on why they believe that, but the market seemed to like hearing it, and oil pulled back a bit on Thursday on that news. On the economic side of things, retail sales came in as expected, and consumers are still spending, even with the higher gas prices. Jobless claims did tick up slightly, but are still really low as far as initial claims go, just meaning companies aren't firing much, and it doesn't seem like they're hiring much either. And the lack of hiring is really the main story, not necessarily mass layoffs yet. But going back to Kevin Warsh, he was confirmed by the Senate this week and officially takes over as Fed chair today. His focus on forward-looking numbers and productivity-driven cuts is the right approach, at least in my view and a lot of other experts, but it'll be hard for him to cut rates until we see some kind of resolution in Iran and with oil, but he is the right person for when that window does open. Next week, we're going to get housing numbers and the Fed minutes from Powell's last meeting as chair. I'll see you next Friday to let you know all the updates.